Hello, Josh Levenhagen here. Welcome to your weekly family ministry devotional. We're going to go ahead and jump right in, and we will do announcements at the end like we've been doing for the last couple of weeks. So we are all done with the Reboot Recovery series, and so I'm actually going to move away from that topic. Like I mentioned in our Live at 5 video on Wednesday, just because we go through a 5-week series on dealing with emotional trauma does not mean that we will be able to get through something like that in just 5 weeks, especially since we're still experiencing the situation that caused our current trauma in the first place. So I'd encourage you guys, go back through the lessons. I'll be posting some of the Live at 5s that were particularly impactful for me. I'll be posting those on our YouTube channel. Check out our YouTube channel. It's got some amazing stuff on it. And I would encourage you guys to go through that series and use the stuff that you learned from it. I promise you it's going to help you during this time. We're going to jump into some Ephesians stuff because we're going to start a new Ephesians series for our midweek messages on Wednesdays, and I'm really excited about it. Ephesians may be the most theologically dense book in the entire New Testament. It's epic. It's amazing, and I wanted to jump today to a passage from chapter 2. That is 2 Peter. That's from something we're going to talk about in just a second. So Ephesians chapter 2, I'm going to go ahead and read the whole first section, which is verses 1 all the way through verse 10. It's called By Grace Through Faith. I'm sure you're going to recognize a few of the verses in here. And you were dead in the trespasses and sins in which you once walked, following the course of this world, following the prince of power of the air, the spirit that is now at work in the sons of disobedience, among whom we all once lived in the passions of our flesh, carrying out the desires of the body and the mind, and were by nature children of wrath, just like the rest of mankind. But God, being rich in mercy, because of the great love with which he loved us, even when we were dead in our trespasses, made us alive together with Christ. By grace you have been saved, and raised us up with him, and seated us with him in the heavenly places in Christ Jesus, so that in the coming ages he might show the immeasurable riches of his grace and kindness toward us in Christ Jesus. For by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not of your own doing. It is the gift of God, not as a result of works, so that no one may boast. For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. I'm sure you'll recognize the important verses in there that you've heard all your life, but that is the entire section. Couple of things I pull out from that. One of the things we've been talking about with my Summer Wonder Chapel group, they're elementary kids, so I'm teaching them some of the deeper concepts of the Bible. We're talking about the children of Israel and this idea of what it means to be holy. And we talked about how holy means to be set apart for God. Doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be some supernatural object or person, but it's something that has been set apart and made special for God. And if God's presence then rests on that object or person or place or time, all that means is that it was set aside special for him. It doesn't mean that it's any different from anything else of its kind. And so we were talking about how things aren't holy because they're just we name these wonderful magical objects we have in this world. Things are holy because we set them apart for God. And we talked about how the entire nation of Israel was set apart for God. Well, here in Ephesians, we see, and in chapter 1 especially, it reinforces this, that the entire human race was set apart for God. In fact, that God designed human beings as an idea before he even made us. The concept of human beings had purpose and was set apart for God. He prepared beforehand that we should walk with him, that we should do his will. So therefore, when we do things that he would not have us do, when we walk in the ways of this world, and it alludes to the devil, where we follow the devil's influences over this world, it's especially heartbreaking for God. It's especially difficult, and it brings the wrath of God, because it's not this self-sustained behavior. We can't just say, this is us, we're doing what we want to do, why can't you just leave us alone? Well, we don't belong to ourselves. Even if we're not Christians, we were designed and created by God to be something different. and to follow along in the ways of Satan and his followers, to allow ourselves to be pulled into the same things that the world is doing, it brings a curse down upon us, because we were designed before the creation of anything. We were designed to do this. And chapter 1 talks about this idea of predestination, but not in the sense that you've heard it argued about, more in the sense of that God had a plan for us in mind. And so much so that he had a salvation plan for us in mind, in the person of Jesus. It says, but by God, who is rich in mercy, because of the great love he loved us, even when we were dead in our trespasses, he made us alive together with Christ. By grace you have been saved, and raised us up with him in Jesus. This idea of that we've been lifted out of that. We didn't do anything to set ourselves apart. We didn't do anything to even pull ourselves away from the world. God already did that. God already set a path before us as Christians before we ever got saved, to follow in Christ's footsteps. So when we neglect that path, what we're doing is neglecting the power of the work of Jesus in our lives. It says that by nature we were children of wrath. The reference there goes back to 2 Peter 2, which the same language in the Greek is used to make the phrase accursed children. We're not just talking about anger. We're talking about people who have incurred the wrath of God. Why am I talking about this? What is the point of this devotion? Well, the point is that God knew what he was doing before any of this crisis started happening, including before we were even born, before any of us were even created. And when I saw the thing about the children of wrath, it was just really interesting. I wanted to look deeper into it, because I think very literally I am seeing a lot of people become children of wrath right now. There's a lot of things going on, and emotions are high, and we are allowing ourselves, a lot of Christians are allowing themselves to be just like the world in name and appearance and behavior. But Christ predestined all of his people. He set in motion a plan and a design for our lives that didn't follow this path, that would follow Christ's path, to follow his goodness, his kindness, his love, and his grace. And it doesn't include following our own selfish desires, allowing pride to overcome us, allowing fear to overtake us, allowing greed to influence us. And I just want us to remember that God's plan is not just bigger than COVID. God's plan is bigger than all of existence, all of space, and all of time. He knows what he's doing, and we need to be following in his footsteps right now, and not allowing ourselves to be so easily influenced and so easily provoked to reaction and emotion by the things that are happening on around us. Treat people around you with kindness and respect and grace, and follow God's guidance for your life. That's all I've got for you. So as far as announcements, the church has made a decision about going forward with starting in-person services. You guys are going to hear more news about that coming up soon. But the family ministry, we still have to come to some of our final decisions. So what I need from you guys is I need some feedback from you guys about some of the thoughts you guys have. I'm going to be continuing to call you. So please let us know what you think about coming back to church. We already have most of the details set, but again, I still want to hear some feedback from you guys as to how we can best serve you. We will definitely be doing continuing digital content, no matter how many services we have or how many people are coming. We're going to continue digital content indefinitely. So let me know what you guys' thoughts are on that, and I will be making a separate video, just a separate video that will have all the news and details and updates about how we're going to return to in-person worship. Thank you guys so much for tuning into my videos, and I hope that you will join us for our children's church on Sunday live at 11 a.m. on Facebook Live and on Google Meet. The link will be posted in the Facebook group. I love you guys. I miss you guys. God bless. Stay safe. I will talk to you Sunday. Bye.